I'm not allowed to play with humans. In the heart of a sprawling farm, 12-year-old Aiden Rocker spent his afternoons immersed in a world of adventure. The farm, a patchwork of lush fields and thick woods, was Aiden's playground, a place where his imagination knew no bounds. With his faithful dog, Scout, trotting alongside, Aiden was the undisputed king of this wild domain. On this particular afternoon, Aiden was busy at work on his latest project, a makeshift fort constructed from old branches, discarded farm materials, and whatever treasures the land offered up. Scout, ever loyal, watched with bright eyes, occasionally darting off to chase a butterfly or investigate a rustling in the underbrush. The air was filled with the sounds of nature, birds chirping, leaves rustling, and somewhere in the distance, the faint mooing of cows. As Aiden hammered away, securing the last of the branches with an old piece of twine, his attention was caught by a peculiar sound, a soft, mechanical hum. Scout perked up too, his ears twitching towards the sound. Curious, Aiden stood up and dusted his hands on his jeans. With Scout at his heels, he followed the sound, weaving through a small crop of trees that led to the open field beyond. There, hidden from the house by a fold in the land, lay something extraordinary, a sleek, silver object. It was small, no larger than the shed where Dad kept his tools, and shaped like a teardrop, with smooth, shiny surfaces that reflected the afternoon sun. Aiden approached cautiously, his heart pounding with the thrill of the unknown. Scout, braver, or perhaps just more curious, bounded ahead to sniff at this object. As they drew closer, a section of the craft silently slid open, revealing a small figure standing in the shadow of the doorway. The figure was about Aiden's size, but there the similarities ended. Its skin shimmered like the surface of a pond at twilight, and its eyes, large and luminous, watched Aiden with an expression of mild curiosity. The figure stepped forward into the light, and Aiden heard a voice, clear, though its lips did not move. "Hello, human child. I am Z. I'm sorry, but I'm not allowed to play with humans. It's too risky." Aiden took a step forward. "That's okay, but what are you doing here?" "I'm on an adventure," Z replied, his voice tingling in Aiden's head like a cool breeze. "Would you like to hear about it?" With a nod, Aiden invited Z to sit at the base of his fort. As Z and Aiden settled into the shade of the makeshift fort, the alien boy began to recount the marvels of his family's interstellar journey. "First, we visited Aquatros," Z's voice hummed softly in Aiden's mind. "The oceans there glow with light, brighter than any nightlight. At night, the whole planet pulses with blue and green waves like the sea has a heartbeat of its own." Aiden listened intently, his eyes wide with wonder. "That sounds amazing. And the other places?" "Then there was Flora 7, Z continued, his own eyes reflecting the excitement in Aiden's. "It's a world where the plants can sing. Each breeze brings a new melody, harmonies created by the wind rustling through leaves. It's like listening to a symphony every time you walk through the forests." "And?" Aiden prompted, eager for more. "Silva has trees so tall that their tops vanish into the clouds. The people there live in the trees, with bridges connecting one giant tree to another. It's like a whole city up in the sky." As Z described these distant worlds, Aiden's imagination soared. "I wish I could see all that," he sighed, a little enviously. "I love exploring here on the farm, discovering new things. Maybe one day I could travel to other planets too." "You might, Aiden," Z said, his tone encouraging. "The universe is vast, and who knows what the future holds." The conversation shifted as Aiden shared his own adventures and dreams, his tales of camping in the woods, finding hidden streams, and watching the stars, wondering about what lay beyond. Z listened, fascinated by the human boy's connection to his home world. Feeling a bond forming, Aiden glanced at his fort. "Do you want to help build my fort?" he asked hopefully. "It could use an alien touch." Z's face fell slightly and he shook his head. "I'm sorry, Aiden. I really want to, but I'm not allowed to play with humans. That's the only rule my father gave me." Aiden nodded, understanding the importance of rules. "That's okay, Z. Maybe you can just watch, and I'll build." As Aiden picked up a stick and resumed his work, Z watched, his eyes thoughtful. The human boy's acceptance touched something deep within him, sparking a hope that, maybe one day, the rules could change. The peace of their newfound friendship was suddenly shattered by a sharp, commanding voice that echoed across the field. "Z, what are you doing? I told you not to interact with humans." Aiden looked up to see a tall figure standing at the entrance of the spacecraft, his skin shimmering a stern shade of silver under the sun. Z's father's presence was imposing, and his tone left no room for argument. Z stiffened, and a visible shadow of disappointment crossed his features. Aiden, sensing his friend's distress, quickly stood up. "We weren't playing, sir," he said bravely, stepping slightly in front of Z as if to shield him. "Z was just telling me about his travels. He was observing, learning about human behavior." Z's father looked at Aiden, his expression unchanging for a moment before softening slightly. "Is that so?" he murmured, his voice still firm but less harsh. He turned his gaze back to Z, who nodded vigorously. "Yes, father, I was observing, that's all. And that is all it takes to get in trouble when dealing with humans. Let this be a lesson." Z looked back at Aiden, his large eyes filled with a mix of regret and hope. "I'm sorry I have to go so suddenly," he said, "but I hope to come back one day, Aiden, when I'm older, and maybe then I can explore more freely. Perhaps we can even play together." Aiden smiled wistfully as he watched the spacecraft disappear into the horizon. If only adults could behave like children do when they first meet, he mused aloud to Scout, who wagged his tail. The universe might be a better place. In that moment, Aiden understood the simplicity of their encounter, where rules and differences faded away, leaving only the joy of shared curiosity and friendship. And as he turned to head back to his fort, he carried with him a hope that one day the world beyond his farm would embrace that same spirit of openness and wonder. This is not goodbye, nor the end. Until the story continues, my friends, be and rocker.